What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new StarCraft 2 video. This one is between two players on the WCS Pro circuit. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of Kairos Junction LE, playing with the blue Protoss pieces. He's well known in the StarCraft 2 Pro scene, been around for a long time. His name is Harstem. And his opponent spawning in the cross position, playing with the red Terran pieces. He's a little bit newer to the StarCraft 2 Pro scene, but he's starting to make a name for himself. His name is Time. So, guys and girls, I am very excited about this game and this series in particular that was played at the WCS Spring event and was one of the games within the round of 16 of that tournament. And it looks like Harstem has decided to go across the map here near what would be that third command center and put up a proxy gateway. And it looks like Time, of course, has really no idea about this at this point. But he's kind of going into a very standard build. It looks like he's going ahead getting that barracks into that refinery, and probably following this up with a factory after the barracks. So he's going to get a, it looks like the play, at least at this point, is going to go ahead and get that Reaper out. Now, very interestingly enough, we are going to see the natural nexus on the opposite side of the map. So we're going to see that natural nexus going down, and then, of course, nothing at the top of the ramp. So this should be interesting. Now, it does look like the natural command center's going down. Looks like Harstem's trying to be a little bit of a nuisance here, but it looks like a Zealot is going to be coming out now out of this proxy gateway, and it does look like that Reaper does not look like he's going to see exactly what's going on quite yet, but it does look like that Zealot is going to start making his way, trying to get the cancel, or should try to take out this SCV. It looks like the SCV is going to try to run out of there. Looks like just like that, though, Harstem is already creating some problems early on here. Looks like a lot of SCVs are going to be pulled off of the line. Looks like that Reaper is going to start heading back home, but we have two. It does look like the cancel comes in, but we do see two Zealots coming in. A Stalker is going to be followed in as of right now. Now, it looks like it was only a matter of time until Time finds out what's going on, but it does look like these Zealots are going to start trying to take out that supply depot. Does not look like that much damage is going to be dealt as of yet. Looks like Harstem is really going to try to do as much damage as he possibly can here. Does look like he is able to snipe one of those SCVs, and now here we go. Looks like that bunker does go down, and it looks like the mass recall is going to be called for Harstem to head back home, because back home we are going to see some problems coming in here. I shouldn't say massive problems, but that Reaper is just having free range, at least at this point, of what is going on. Trying to be a nuisance on the other side is Time. And it does look like, even though a little bit of some aggression in the early stages of the game here out of Harstem, it does look like it is going to be well defended by Time. And now Time should be able to, he's getting that natural command center, reconstructed. So it's going to lose a little bit of some mining time. But at the same time, it should be, I think he'll be just fine in the grand scheme of things. Now, it depends, though. Harstem has taken a lead, though, as far as the economy is concerned. His economy is certainly booming over time. And it does look like we are going to see the follow-up here for Harstem. He's going to go ahead. He's getting that Warp Gate being researched in less than 10 seconds. We're going to see that Twilight Council coming in. And, we're going to start seeing an observer coming in as well to start kind of doing a little bit of some scouting information. Now, on the opposite side of the map, it looks like the Siege Tank production is starting to ramp up here for Time. He wants to go ahead and start creating some more units as far as getting a proper unit composition in order to kind of counter any types of aggression that's going to come, because Harstem is in the lead at this point in the game. We are going to see Harstem is going to go ahead. He's going to start getting some of these necessary upgrades that he's gonna need to do as much damage as possible. Now, we do have to keep in mind that there is a medevac that is flying around. Time is trying to keep tabs on what is going on across the map, but Blink is being researched out of that Twilight Council. We are going to see a Raven coming out of the starport now for Time. And both players now starting to give each other a little bit of some respect. Now, we are going to see the Observer is going to come through and is going to see exactly what is going on the opposite side of the map. Now, that Observer is taken out relatively quickly, but does do a little bit of some scouting information, sees what the unit composition is. And now it looks like Time continuing to ramp up that production. Harstem's getting the Forge down, probably going to go for those +1 ground-based unit upgrades. And we are seeing a handful of these Stalkers moving across the map, with Blink finishing up here very, very soon. Just finishing up, and now the Stalkers are at the opposite side of the map, and it looks like they are going to try to maybe just see if they can get any types of damage in. They're going to kind of come together as a group, as a unit, it looks like. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to Blink on top of this siege tank, but there are siege tanks in pretty good positions at this point. Now, it does look like, here we go, Harstem's going to try to do a little bit of some damage. Doesn't do much yet, and has to go ahead and Blink out of there, at least for the time being. But just kind of that jawing back and forth between these two players is what we might start seeing as they try to jostle for positioning, as charge is being researched now for Harstem. We're seeing this +1/+1 upgrades coming in as well, or are going to be started out of that Forge. Now, here we go. It does look like more that siege tanks are in position currently. Looks like we are going to see Harstem is going to try to get as much scouting information as possible. And it does look like we're going to see Stimpack as well as Combat Shield being researched out of Time. So Time's going to start getting those, those upgrades as well. And very surprisingly, he has not seen this, I don't believe. Okay, he has seen it. So Time has seen the Warp Gate here. And it does look like he is going to shoo off his opponent. As we are starting to see a beautiful scan there, we're going to see the Templar Archives as well as another gateway. So right now, Time is going to be able to see exactly what's going on. I think he's probably going to want to start moving out at some point or another to try to do a little bit of some damage here, as we are going to see these Stalkers are kind of in a bad position, it looks like. They are going to start trying to, they're going to go ahead and Blink backwards, as the infantry weapons level 1 is going to be finishing up, as well as Combat Shield. Ground armor is going to be finishing up for Harstem here in less than 5 seconds. And there's a lot of red coming. There's a lot of SCVs that are going to be here as well. Is there going to be enough here for Time to actually be able to hold on against this army? Because there are a lot of units moving in, including siege tanks as well as Marines, Marauders. It is going to be an absolute bloodbath if Harstem does not get the proper connection. It looks like those horse wheels do go down, but I don't know if it's going to be quite enough. These siege tanks are in a beautiful position. Looks like Harstem's trying to get around this army, but it does look like so many units are starting to go down. Oh my god, Harstem! His absolute supply is plummeting, as the SCVs are even going after the probes now. Oh my god, the amount of damage being dealt. GG is called, and Time creates a timing attack push on Harstem and is able to overwhelm his opponent, taking a 1-0 lead in this series. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between Time and Harstem, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and I'll see you guys all in game number 2. Alrighty everyone, well, game number 2 in this best of 5 series that was played at the WCS Spring event and was one of the games within the round of 16 of that tournament finds us on Port Alexander LE. Spawning here in the top left hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran pieces. He's currently up in this series and wants to keep it rolling in his favor. His name is Time. And his opponent spawning in the cross position, playing with the red Protoss pieces. He's currently down, but certainly not out of this series just yet. His name is Harstem. So guys, in this series so far has been one that has been relatively interesting. We've had a little bit of everything so far. We had some, early aggression by Harstem in game number 1, a proxy gateway that he had some zealots and a couple of stalkers trying to do a little bit of some damage, but Time had beautiful defense, and that translated to great offense because he had a timing push after Harstem went for his 3rd Nexus and went ahead and overwhelmed his opponent in game number 1. So the question is what does Harstem do in this game? Simply because game number 1 went for a little bit of some aggression. It just never really seemed to materialize into anything. And so what is he going to do now in this game where he's down a game against this young gun, this kind of up-and-coming player in the StarCraft 2 pro scene in Time? And how is he going to show that he still got it as a an elite StarCraft 2 pro gamer? We're going to find out, because I think the narrative is certainly around Harstem right now, as he did, that was a tough loss in game number 1. But Time is a very, very good player when it comes to the Terran pieces, just very good at StarCraft, and he's quickly becoming a fan favorite by a lot of fellow Terran players. So should be interesting to see in this game what ends up happening. So let's talk about what both our players are doing here in the early stages of the game. It does look like Time is going to be going for another very standard build. He's going to go for the barracks into the double refineries, followed up by a factory as well as a command center. And then on the opposite side of the map, it looks like the Nexus is going to be coming in, but that is, of course, followed up by a cybernetics core as well as a Twilight Council. And so we are going to see, pretty standard builds by both players, at least in these early stages of the game. It does look like we're starting to see the techs of choice very early on. However, for Harstem, he is going to go ahead, as I said, getting that Twilight Council early on here. He's also going to follow this up by a robotics facility, it looks like. And that cybernetics core, of course, is researching the warp gate, which, of course, is the most standard upgrade for a Protoss player in the early stages. So it does look like this is going to, for Time, he's going to follow up that factory with a starport. Going to land that factory right on top of the reactor. And it looks like we're in business now. Now, very interesting. Okay, so it looks like a dark shrine is going to be created here for Harstem. So Harstem is trying to once again, kind of pulling out a couple of different ideas out of the Protoss handbook and a couple of interesting strategies here. So we'll have to see what he decides to do, if it's going to be, go for some, using some Dark Templar, or what is he going to do exactly with the Dark Shrine. There's, of course, going to be a number of options, but it should be interesting to say the least, as we're going to see that he's going to follow this up with a couple more gateways. Of course, we're going to see a War Prism that's going to be coming out here. And what I would be interested in is maybe some Archon drops possibly, which I would think, to try to keep the pressure on Time, or at least keeping him at home, because you don't want to give him the opportunity to dictate the pace of the game, because a lot of times when you do that in StarCraft 2, it turns out to be a very difficult thing to manage, where allowing the opponent to kind of dictate the pace. But that being said, we're seeing double Marine production, as well as a Raven is going to be coming out once again out of Time. So he is pretty much going for a very similar build to what he did in game number 1. Of course, definitely did work. Now, we are going to see a couple of Widow Mines are going to be across the map once again, which is one thing that Time did do in game number 1. It looks like he's going to drop these right on top of these probes. Oh my god, could they do a lot of damage? Looks like they exactly are going to do a monster amounts of damage there to of course, all of those probes. Wow, doing a ton of damage. Beautiful play there by Time, but at the same time, Harstem is trying to go an eye for an eye here, as he lands just some Dark Templar into the mix over at that main base location. It does look like once again he's going to try to get a couple more units for his troubles. That is exactly what he's doing. Beautiful play here by Harstem, trying to get an eye for an eye after losing a lot of units there, as in the form of probes. And it does look like once again this Dark Templar is going to continue being a nuisance, and he is going to be taken out now at this point. But once again, more and more drops are going to be coming in. Here come Here come both of those Widow Mines. The Widow Mine is going to only get one hit for its trouble. So both players are, you know, things are happening all over the map, which is really exciting and a lot just to, you know, kind of keep track of at this point in the game and in the series. Both players now really trying to put, you know, a heavy emphasis on trying to keep their opponent at home and at bay at this point. Very interesting play here by both players, but I gotta say, you know, when you're looking at this, Time got a lot of damage dealt there, out of those Widow Mines, and now I'm wondering, Harstem is certainly not out of this thing just yet, but I feel like it was just a lot of damage that was dealt over there. I'd say we're going to see an Archon being constructed as well as a Dark Templar. Does look like another handful of these of those Stalkers are going to come in, but they are going to be shooed away immediately by none other than those Siege Tanks. So Siege Tanks are really helping out against this ground-based unit composition of Harstem. Stimpack is finishing up now for Time, and it does look like, once again, Time is not really missing much of a beat, at least at this point. Now, we do have a couple of Archons, so we're going to go from Dark Templar to Archon drops now for Harstem. And I'm going to see seeing the disruptors on that production tab for Harstem is very interesting as well. I kind of like that decision a lot. We are going to see the Forge that's going to be coming in as well for Harstem. But I'm wondering, concussive shells as well as, you know, I mean, we're starting to see those +1/+1 upgrades are going to be coming in as well. And then on top of all of that, you're going to see combat shield as well. Lots of upgrades are going to be finishing up here for Time in less than 10 seconds. And as in combat shield, concussive shells, and infantry weapons level 1, Blink is going to be finishing up in a couple seconds now for Harstem. And so I'm looking at this. The question that I'm wondering is, who's got the advantage? It feels to me that Time has the advantage once again. He's got an army that's going to be coming out. Third Nexus once again for Harstem. But the issue I'm wondering, though, is that Time once again, the thing is he knows about this third Nexus, and it looks like he's going to go and try to do exactly what he did in game number 1. He's going to want to try to overwhelm his opponent before Harstem can actually build up a big enough force to take on this army. Because look at this. Now the disruptor hits. Oh, this disruptor hits could be absolutely devastating at this point. So it all comes down to the micro right here and right now. Do not want to lose these disruptors. The disruptors look like they are going to get lost at this point. Oh, the Raven is going to help out tremendously. And just like that, it looks like, once again, Time is going to try to overwhelm this third Nexus and really start trying to take a nice lead in the game. Harstem's supply is absolutely plummeting. He wants to hold on here. He does not want to go down 2-0 against Time on a match point, essentially. That would come down to that game number 3. Beautiful disruptor hits once again. This could actually, Time could actually, he's going to do enough damage, it looks like, at this point. And there we go. GG is called. And Harstem has to GG out after losing that third Nexus, and Time takes a commanding 2-0 lead over his opponent. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between Time and Harstem, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe for new, stay positive, and I'll see you guys all in game number 3. Alrighty, everyone. Well, game number 3 in this best of 5 series finds us on King's Cove LE. Spawning here, in the top left-hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran pieces. He's currently on match point and wants to finish up this series right here and right now. His name is Time. And his opponent spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, playing with the red Protoss pieces. He's currently down and wants to get on the scoreboard. His name is Harstem. So, guys and girls, this series has been one of a couple of things, right? We've had a little bit of some cheese in it. We had Harstem, going for some different types of builds to try to throw Time off. But Time has kind of just stayed on the straight and narrow, and it's just not really veered much from that, kind of waiting on his time. He's being very patient and overwhelming Harstem in both games 1 and 2 in basically very similar fashion. He is just absolutely dominating at this stage. We're talking, this was a a game in a series that was played at the WCS Spring event was one of the series in the round of 16 of that tournament. And guys, we've seen Time. This is a guy who can take games off of players like Cyril, like some of the best players in the world. This is a guy who is up and coming, and there is absolutely no doubt about it. And, you know, Harstem, of course, has been around the community and just in the, you know, has been a pro gamer for a long time in StarCraft 2. And, you know, when, you know, he's having a hard time against Time, really trying to figure out, okay, what should I do in order to get a game off of him? Because it is a very difficult thing to do against Time. And we're starting to see that more and more as these tournaments kind of unfold for us. But Time has a lot of patience. He's similar to a player like Cyril, except, you know, of course, playing with the Terran pieces. He's very patient and kind of waits for his moment. And when he has that moment, he strikes, and it is absolutely devastating for a player, to say the least. But that being said, guys, you know, Harstem is certainly not out of this thing just yet. I mean, you know, if he can turn the tide or turn the momentum in his favor with just winning one game, that can really help the morale of a player as far as getting back into a tournament. We are going to see a Reaper that's going to be coming across the map here, starting to do a little bit some damage to a pylon. Wants to, you know, just take out that shield at least, right? But it does look like Time also wants to use this Reaper just for, you know, that scouting information as well, which is extremely important, just to see the timing on that natural nexus and such. We are going to see Time getting his natural command center out, and we're going to, of course, see the barracks factory and then a second barracks instead of the starport, at least at this point. On the opposite side, we are going to see a change up once again. So a third time we're seeing a different kind of build order. Harstem is going ahead and he's getting the Stargate out. So he's just pulling out everything, every different kind of strategy out of the book for the pros to try to take down Time. Can he do it? We're going to find out as he is going ahead and getting that Oracle out. We're also going to see the Cybernetics Corps is going to be researching the Warp Gate. We're going to be seeing the Twilight Council coming in once again as well. But just change-ups after change-ups here for Harstem. He's trying to figure out what can he do to just get back into the series. And, you know, guys, the answer, I don't really know. It's a hard thing. Time is playing out of his mind. He's playing lights out. I love the way that Time has been playing this series so far. It's going to be very interesting to say the least. But he's at least going to get, Harstem is going to get a little bit of some scouting information with that Oracle, to say the least. Warp Gate's going to be finished up in less than 5 seconds for Harstem. And now on the opposite side of the map, we're going to start seeing, you know, the Marine. We're starting to see the Widow Mine. So, I mean, honestly, not much of a change-up. Now, we are going to start seeing some Vikings coming out of the starport, but not a lot of change-up. The one thing, it would be, I think this would, obviously the Viking is a counter to none other than the Oracle, but we're going to see Stimpack being researched right now, and we're also going to be seeing the follow-up here with more and more barracks coming in now as the tech labs being put onto that factory. And I gotta say, you know what? I think that this, you know, both these players are starting to, it looks like in this game, they're giving each other a good amount of respect here in the early stages. Nothing too aggressive as of yet. It does look like Harstem is moving out with some units, as in Stalkers as well as Adepts. But I think this is more so going to be to try to maybe just see what kind of damage he can do. Now, here we go. It does look like both players do see each other here. These medevac do not want to lose this medevac here, as those Widow Mines are going to try and do what they can. But beautiful scout there by Harstem. He was able to track down that Widow Mine and that medevac, and now he's going to be able to have the proper, you know, the proper units here to kind of fend off this medevac, to say the least. Impact's finishing up as well as Blink for both players. And the third Nexus is now down for Harstem, and this is what he's been trying to do the entire time, is he's been trying over and over again to, you know, just trying to get an advantage. at some point. And, you know, more and more action's happening here over at Harstem's side of the map. We're going to see a couple more gateways are going to be constructed at this point. We're going to see charge being researched, as well as those +1 upgrades out of the forge. So, I mean, both players, like I said, they're giving each other some respect, at least at this point in the game. Harstem, you know, one thing that's kind of surprising me, does Time know about this third command center? He has no idea about this right now. So he is moving out right now, which I like that decision a lot. But Harstem's been mining on this third nexus, and this could get very interesting extremely quickly, because there's a lot of units here that are starting to move out towards that third nexus. And could this be a third time that Time goes ahead and takes advantage of the quick third nexus? And it does look like, here we go, force field is going to be coming in and the micro is going to be started, and it does look like Harstem's going to be pushed back, at least for the time being. Oh, it comes down to this micro, and man, this is going to be a very interesting position because of these shield batteries. It does look like at this point Harstem is actually holding on for dear life here, as a lot of these units are going to have to get up and fly away. And it looks like Harstem was able to take advantage there, and now Time is going ahead and getting his third command center. So I gotta say, Harstem actually, he won that engagement without a doubt. I felt a little bit of an overextension there by Time. So now we're kind of an eye for an eye. Both players are, you know, on similar footing here, as it looks like Time is going to once again try to do a little bit of some damage here. He's going to go ahead, burrow those Widow Mines. You want to be very, very careful here. You do not want to get these Widow Mines could have some devastation. But it does look like, once again, I feel like Time is just overextending just a little bit, as it does look like at this point our Protoss player is taking a little bit of a lead, I think, as far as I'm concerned. Now, the longer the game goes, Time, of course, can get back into this game. But Harstem, I think this is an opportunity. He has to strike here. He has got to get back in this series. Of course, if he wants to have any shot at moving onwards to the round of 8. Now, we are going to see a little bit of some play here as far as down near that third command center. So both players are kind of, you know, they're doing a good job with scouting. They know kind of what's going on either side of the map. Now, we are going to see the armory is going to be constructed now for Time. It's also got an engineering bay going down as well. We're going to see disruptors coming out of the robotics facility. So both players are we're starting to see, we're kind of moving into that mid, it's you know, the mid game here, so we passed that 9-minute mark. And both of these players, I mean, it looks like, you know, both players are on similar, like I said, on similar footing. I'd have to give the advantage slightly to Harstem, but I mean, one engagement, and look at this. Time is not holding, you know, he is not holding back at all. He wants to do as much damage as possible, as we are going to see that you know, mass revelation on a lot of these Terran units. But it might not matter that much, as here we go. We are going to see, of course, these liberation zones are really going to shade away a lot of these units, doing a lot of damage there. I don't know if I like Harstem trying to do, you know, some damage in there, or try to take out those liberators. And it does look like, once again, these disruptors could be disruptive, no pun intended, but we are going to see, oh my god, beautiful disruptor hits. Harstem is getting some nice connections, I gotta say, with these disruptors. Those disruptor hits are absolutely doing some incredible amounts of damage to this army. Time not really paying enough attention to this army down here. Now it does look like, here we go, looks like Harstem wants to jump on top of this army, but at the same time he's not really committing fully to it for some reason. He's got the army here. I would definitely I would think that he would go after this, at least at this point, and not allow these liberators to do much damage, as it looks like right now Time is going to move on to the opposite side of this of the ramp. He wants to go after this third this third Nexus, once again, he wants to get a nice angle here. Doesn't look like Blink is going to be activated, going to try to chase down this army as much as possible, and it does look like a lot of these units are going to be caught in the middle of the field. Oh my god! Time is kind of making a little bit of some mistakes here, and if there was ever a moment for Harstem to pounce on his opponent, it would be right now, because Time is going for his fourth command center, and that's exactly what Harstem knows now. He knows he's going for that fourth command center, but at the same time a drop comes in. This drop could be devastating if Time doesn't get, or if Harstem doesn't get back. It does look like he is going to go ahead, and he does clean that all up, but you know, damage is being dealt, and Time is trying to stay in this game. He's trying to stay in the game, of course, and he's doing a pretty good job of that, as those +2 upgrades are coming in for both players. Now we're seeing the fourth hatchery coming in, right? That fourth command center is almost done, that planetary fortress, and I gotta say, the longer this goes, I think this is definitely, I mean, this is Harstem's game that he has got to win, obviously. But I just don't know. Can he close out Time at this point? Can he close out Time and get back into this series? It's going to be a very difficult one, to say the least. I feel like Harstem's got a very good opportunity here to do exactly that. I just feel that he needs to start doing some significant damage to the army composition of Time. And here we go. We're going to see a warp in here by Harstem. He's going to try to do as much damage as possible in that main base location. Beautiful, disruptive play here by Harstem, but it looks like it's going to most likely get cleaned up here relatively quickly. We got, of course, the drop came in. Medevac comes in with a bunch of units, and, that damage is dealt. But I don't think that was enough damage, but what it's doing is Harstem's keeping Time on his toes. This is a great matchup. This is an absolutely great game between these two, as we are going to see, as we pass approaching that 13.5-minute mark. It's all going to come down to the positioning and the micro of these players. And it's going to be on full display here, I'm sure, very shortly, as infantry armor level 2 as well as ship weapons level 1 are going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds now for Time. And you got to wonder. Both players are, of course, with the upgrade count, both players are doing pretty solid jobs of staying ahead of course, the upgrades. But who's really got the advantage here? Here we go. Harstem once again, almost taking out a bunch of these units, and almost taking out those medevacs. I mean, and that could have been game over right there. Time is able to live another day at this point. But if I'm Harstem, I am moving in on this planetary fortress without a doubt. I'm not sure what the delay is here for Harstem, deciding not to, to really push in there, just kind of giving that respect, like kind of just, I don't know if he's buying himself time, but what he's actually doing is buying a lot of time for Time. And so Time's having more and more, he's given some more opportunity to get back into this game here, because but he's behind. He is certainly behind right now, but the longer this game goes, he's going to be able to get back into it. So I think Harstem is he hasn't made up his mind as to what he wants to do exactly, as far as if he wants to just play a defensive game. It may be that he's just concerned about the drop play of Time, and I think Time is doing exactly that. And see, this is pulling his entire army. A handful of units is pulling the entirety of a army down, and so now it looks like, here we go. Harstem looks like he actually wants to start doing some damage. The Ghost Cannon is down here as well, so now that is scouted by Harstem. But here we go. It's all going to come down to that. It's all going to come down to both players and what they decide to do here. Who is going to take on who first? But it does look like, at the same time, Time is taking out so many units here, as the mass recall once again is called. Time is just slowly but surely bleeding his opponent dry as the mass recall is initiated. And Time is, I mean, he's just playing lights out. I mean, really, he's playing perfect StarCraft 2. If any of you out there are, you know, are Terran players, I would highly recommend watching some of Time's replays and really learning some of those build orders, because he is playing playing absolutely incredibly against a veteran Protoss player, to say the least. So just Time is playing very, very well, and I think that he's behind in the supply still, but I feel that with some of these engagements, it certainly put him back into a position of strength where he really could get back into this thing and overwhelm Harstem, simply because he did so much damage down here. And he's once again doing the same thing again, being disruptive is Time. He's going after that 5th Nexus again, and at the same time we have Harstem, who's going to do some draw players, going to have a warping of Zealots trying to hit some important tech structures here, at least for the time being. And it looks like both players trying to go an eye for an eye, but I just don't like that Harstem is doesn't really know what he wants to do exactly. If he wants to be all in on fighting, or if he just wants to try to take out little bits and pieces of the army at certain points. So we're going to have to see here, as we are going to see these Vikings are going to try. They take out one of those, they are going to take out one of those Tempests, but I just don't know, guys. I don't know. It's a tough situation that Time is in, but Harstem is in a similar situation where this could get very. All is going to come down to the engagement as we are approaching that 18-minute mark in the game, and so we're moving into that late game. And so what we're starting to see is more and more Tempest being added on here. We're going to see Storm being added on now for Harstem. And Time is continuing, you know, his production of Liberators, and I like that decision a lot. He's got a lot of Vikings, and you know, of course, he's got his Ghost Academy. He's making he's got his Ghost Academy. It looks like he is making a nuke right now, so that's going to be very interesting as well to see how all of this kind of shapes up as, you know, as this game progresses. I mean, man, Harstem, I feel like he had it. I feel like he has it to a degree, but this drop play, Time is the one dictating the pace of the game. It's not Harstem. Time is absolutely dictating the pace of how this game is shaping up. And while this has all been happening, he has gotten back in this game. Look at the supply, back in the game. I feel that Harstem, if he would have just attacked after his first engagement that really went over well for him, he could have won this match already. But it just seems like Time has been given an opportunity to get back in the game, and now Harstem has to make some decisions quickly here as to what he wants to do. Small amounts of units of Time are really dictating what the outcome or how this the pace of the game, because Harstem, every time there's even just a handful of units, is mass recalling half of this army back home. And this is what Time does so well. Time does this so well, and as this is all happening, he's building up a force that is going to be very difficult to work against. I mean, look at this. Liberators, Vikings, Marauders, and Marines, as well as Medevacs, are all here right now at this, what is the third base location. And it does look like these Tempests are going to start to try to move in here, try to do a little bit of some damage, but it does look like Time is going to start to move in here on a lot of these units. He's going to start trying to snipe down that third Nexus and try to slowly but surely take out a lot of these units. Here we go. Does look like storms are going to come in, but oh man, this is a very difficult army to engage into. Those Tempests are trying to do what they can, but man, Time has just such good control of his army at this point. So many units are starting to go down here by Harstem. And it does look like, here we go. We are going to see the Liberators. All these units are going to start moving in here. I don't know if I like that they're moving in so far as those storms are going to try to be landed. Oh, man, so many units are going down here by Harstem as time is just taking out base after base, utilizing those liberation zones, making this such a difficult army to move into. So many units going down here for Harstem. How much longer can he hold on? The Vikings are going to be coming in. If these Tempests go down, this could spell the end. And time is trying to move on to the round of 8 of the WCS spring event. And Harstem is trying to hold on for dear life here as these Vikings are going after those Tempests. Can they take them out? It doesn't look like there's going to be quite enough of those. But these liberation zones are starting to tell the tale of the tape. They are doing so much damage. Oh my God, all of these Liberators taking out High Templar after High Templar. So many units are going down. The Tempests are almost completely decimated. Time is slowly but surely just moving in on Harstem's territory. And I gotta say, the disruptor hits are absolutely doing damage. As these Liberators once again are going to need to kind of fly on out of there. The disruptors are what's really been helping, but once again, time is just hitting a lot of these important tech structures. I mean, that robotics facility was so key for our Protoss player. And time is just consistently making more and more bases as he destroyed 3 bases there. I mean, he destroyed 3 bases, and now he's re-upping this army, and that's and now it's basically more of the same. Liberators, Marines, Marauders, Medivacs. He's got Ghosts in there too that he can try to snipe down these disruptors. I really like the position now that time is in. I mean, I loved where Harstem was in. He was playing so well, and then all of a sudden, time is starting to take over this game. Once again, these liberation zones are doing so much damage. That extended range and everything, these High Templar are going down as well. And now it comes down to more and more of these Tempests are going to have to try to join the fight here. But I just don't know if they can do it because of those Ghosts as well. As, these liberation zones are creating so many problems for these ground-based units. But it just is so back and forth here as Harstem is trying to stay in this game, but another base does fall here for Harstem, and like I said, this is a Serral type move by time. So time, of course, guys, obviously is a Terran player, right? But he's playing very similar to what Serral would do with the Zerg pieces. He's bleeding his opponent dry, slowly but surely. Harstem is flooding. He just cannot. I mean, his production has gone down substantially. His mineral production and everything, and time is just consistently getting more and more bases. I mean, he's in a fantastic position right now to end this thing. His supply is ahead. He's done so much damage at this point. And now if he can take out more important tech structures, I just don't know how much longer can Harstem hold on here. I mean, he's got a nice little army here. He certainly does. He's got a lot of Tempests. He's got those disruptors that will be helpful as well. But just look at all these bases of time. Time has so many bases, and he's going to try to hit in a good position here. And he's going to go after, the Templar Archives. He's going to try to go after as many of these units as possible. And it does look like, these liberators are trying to, keep these liberation zones as the main army is going after the newly acquired, what is this, 6th base of Harstem that he's trying to retake once again, and it's just absolutely not working here for Harstem. He just does not have enough at this point. Now, one bad engagement, though, by time could turn the tide of all of this, because we could have a significant base race, but I just don't see it happening. I just can't see it happening. Time has so many units at this point. Here come the storms. They're coming down, and it does look like the Tempests are the one last remaining force. GG is called, and Time wins this series and moves on to the round of 8. I hope you guys did enjoy this game and this series between Time and Harstem. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.